On August 30th, 1963, a single transmission between Washington and Moscow established a communication link that would serve as the ultimate failsafe against nuclear apocalypse. In the decades since, we have come to believe this transmission was sent using a red phone, the famous fictional object of the Cold War. But the real hotline looked like this: a clunky wooden T-63 teleprinter housed in the Pentagon. This is This Day That Year, where we unpack complex geopolitical events in 5 minutes. Our cultural memory of a doomsday phone is a fiction. The decision to use a telegraph was a calculated choice, one designed to manage the human volatility of a nuclear crisis. The need for that choice began in October 1962. Reconnaissance photos of Soviet missile sites in Cuba had brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. Seeking a way out, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev attempted to de-escalate by drafting a massive 3,000-word settlement offer to President Kennedy. This created a lethal bottleneck. Because of archaic diplomatic telegraph routing, it took the United States nearly 12 hours to receive, decode, and translate the text, a delay that lasted longer than the flight time of the missiles themselves. Khrushchev eventually grew so panicked by the delay that he bypassed diplomatic channels entirely, broadcasting his final terms over public radio just to reach the White House in time. In 1962, the slow movement of information was a fatal hazard in its own right, nearly triggering a war that neither side wanted. On June 20, 1963, both nations signed the Hotline Agreement to fix that vulnerability, initiating a complex exchange of hardware. The United States sent American-made teleprinters to Moscow, while the Soviets shipped East German machines to the Pentagon. This map shows the physical route connecting them, a 10,000-mile wire circuit threading through London, Copenhagen, Stockholm, and Helsinki. Paranoia was so high they refused each other's encryption, instead installing cipher machines from neutral Norway. They even added a secondary radio link through Tangier. Every physical component of this system was a negotiated compromise designed to foster trust between mortal enemies. When the new line was activated on August 30th, 1963, the Americans sent a bizarre first test message. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. It was a simple check to ensure every key on the teleprinter worked. The Soviets responded with a poetic description of a sunset over Moscow. In 1967, the poetry ended. During the Six-Day War, American and Soviet naval fleets found themselves operating in dangerous proximity in the Mediterranean. The United States used the hotline to instantly clarify fleet movements, preventing a potentially lethal misunderstanding. The system proved its worth immediately, preventing escalation through the rapid and clear exchange of text. Strategists refer to this as rational management. By creating a private, high-stakes channel, the hotline changed the architecture of international security. It was designed to prevent a spasm response, an accidental nuclear strike triggered by paranoia and a lack of information. The line allowed leaders to step back from the brink privately, away from the pressure of public posturing. Ultimately, the hotline was less about solving a technological bottleneck and more about managing the psychology of fear. This brings us back to the myth of the glowing red phone. Films like Dr. Strangelove and decades of political advertising solidified this false image in the public imagination. If communication was so vital, why was a simple telephone deemed too dangerous to use? Real-time speech is unpredictable. In a crisis, a live voice causes mistranslations, slips of the tongue, and the pressure to give an emotional reaction. The teletype, however, forced leaders to slow down. It gave them the space to read carefully, consult with advisors, and craft a cold, calculated response. Designers chose teletype to intentionally slow the pace of communication. They knew that real-time speech invited translation errors and heated misunderstandings, whereas a written record gave leaders the time to reflect and respond with logic instead of impulse. By refusing to speak, the leaders of the nuclear age ensured that cooler heads prevailed. Subscribe for more 5-minute